Welcome back to Signal Solutions TV. I'm Mark Rose and I'm here with Adam Butler and Peter Schwartz.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So, Peter, thanks for joining us today. Peter is one of our valued partners, joined our partner program working closely with us from a company called OryxAlign. So thanks for coming along today. I know it's not too far down the road from you. You're based in central London, aren't you, in the office?
Yeah, correct. It's actually nice weather, so a pleasure to get here today, and thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, nice and dry, a bit cold. But I thought a good a place to start as any. Tell us a little bit about OryxAlign, what the company does, of course, and your role within it, if you would, Peter. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So OryxAlign, we are a managed service provider based out of London, got offices all over the world. South Africa, we're just opening one in Dubai. We've got service teams in Manchester. So traditionally, we support all sorts of businesses for IT purposes. Where I come in the business now is as a senior technology consultant. I'm working more and more in the construction property space. And we are seeing a lot of changes in the market at the moment. So the technology is changing, people's needs are changing, buildings are changing. It's a really interesting place at the moment.
Yeah. So you're consulting on all things related to technology with your clients.
Yep.
Yes. And what sort of trends are you seeing happening out there?
Well, I suppose as the world has become more and more connected, people are expecting more. People want to be online at any one point in time. Doesn't matter whether they're connecting in via phones, PCs, servers, etc. They all want connectivity.
Yes.
Connectivity comes in many sort of forms, shapes and sizes, as we know, but everything needs to be connected these days. And obviously security is at the forefront of that, but people's usability, it comes down to that at the end of the day. If they're not able to get online, there's big problems.
Yes, yeah. And typically then, so would a client of yours engage with you far in advance of the project build, always at project stage, before they're putting their tenders out, all that kind of stuff? How would that work?
Interesting you ask that. It differs, and it differs depending on what we're working on. So OryxAlign, we will get involved in the construction phase of a building, a base build. So when the tenders come out, we'll look at that, and we'll look at what's needed from a technology perspective in the building. However, we also work with buildings that have been established for a while, people who are retrofitting the buildings because, again, requirements have changed, or maybe there's new legislation out. A good example is I'm currently working with a building who had a fire safety drill the other day. Everyone was going down the fire exits. People couldn't make any phone calls from their phones.
Right.
If that was at a real fire and they wanted to contact their family to say what was going on or whatever, no connectivity in the fire escapes.
No,
it's not good.
No. It's actually one of the things we are going to talk about in a upcoming episode of Signal Solutions TV is Martin's Law. Don't know if you've seen much about that.
No, I've not. No.
So I'm sure we'll talk about it, and we'll have researched more ahead of that particular episode to come up with the facts. But effectively, it's about protecting the public in the event of an act of terrorism. So if you're in a venue or an event, making sure that all of the things are in place to ensure the public's safety, and of course connectivity. You talk about a fire alarm and people not being able to use their phones. Trying to evacuate a building, maybe they need to ring the emergency services because something's happened in the stairwell on the way down.
Absolutely. And if you traditionally look in a lot of buildings and how they've been built in the past, is when you've got a construction company paying for a building, they don't want to be putting connectivity in everywhere that's not needed. You'll go into basements, and often you'll find in a basement there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
If there's no Wi-Fi in a basement, how are people making phone calls down there if you're in a Faraday cage, so to speak?
Yeah.
It's a really interesting story at the moment. But yeah, generally we are helping buildings become more smart these days.
I think that's the key, that we're seeing the same sort of trend, that people are not just comfortable putting in Wi-Fi only or internet these days. They want to make sure that their staff, customers, whatever type of venue it is, building it is, they want to make sure that people are connected all the time. And you touched on a really good point there that, I hate to talk about like terrorist attacks and things like that, but if you think back to like 9/11 or the 7/7 bombings and things like that, people wanted to let their loved ones know that they were okay. They wanted to potentially get help to a certain location, and it's not always possible if there's no Wi-Fi, but especially no mobile signal, because you can't just make a basic mobile call. So
Absolutely,
we're starting to see more of a need for that in the building, that it's not just Wi-Fi only, it's Wi-Fi and some kind of mobile enhancement in mobile signal enhancement in buildings as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think resilience comes into it a huge amount. So if you've got Wi-Fi, why not have mobile signal at the same time?
Yeah.
I've seen protesters, well, I've not seen them myself, sorry. I've heard of protesters going around and cutting internet lines of insurance companies in London.
Yeah.
So if their internet lines are cut, they're not going to be able to use Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But they are going to be able to use their
They could
phones.
still use 4G or 5G on their mobile.
Absolutely correct.
Or tether from their mobile to a device. That's the thing. It is it's a backup, or like you say, it adds resilience to a business.
With the speeds you get from 5G now,
Yeah.
it's a good failover. It
Exactly.
really is.
And the security, our research, and again, a lot more information on the website about it in some of the blogs that we've put together. The mobile network arguably is, military grade security. It's far more encoded and much harder to potentially hack than any Wi-Fi network would be. I mean, I'm sure there's very clever boffins in the background there making sure they're super safe, but at the end of the day, you've got your failover, but for super secure things. It's why SMS messages deliver two-factor authentication, because one of the safest ways of delivering that to the handset of the person that needs it. Very hard to replicate or clone the device to be able to mimic that particular phone number. We see definitely efficiencies for customers, security for customers, for the customer of the building, as it were, but then for the end user, so if you're in a hotel or a retail space, the actual customer, it's using that, there's the safety elements. And this whole smart building concept, I mean, there's accreditation and bits around that now, aren't there? So maybe, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, well, when we're building networks for buildings, and we're often involved at the tender sort of stage, people are often going for things like well accreditation or wired score. And when you've got something like wired score, you get marks on how connected the building is, how smart it is for the users in there. A small cell or a DAS solution is ideal for a building to have in place. At the end of the day, we've got to think about the users in the building. It's not just a building there where people are going to go and work these days. They also want to be able to go onto apps and look at certain things. So having the flexibility of different connectivity in a building is very important. So the wired score comes in as a really important thing to benchmark ourselves against when we're doing and
interestingly as well, wired score recently have changed their to become platinum on wired score. I don't know the exact requirements, but they've increased the mobile signal side of it, the scoring, to get that platinum status. They brought it in a couple of years ago and did it sort of lightly, so it was like you need to have one operator or it be putting in place some sort of resilience around mobile signal. But now I think the new tiering says that you have to have at least two operators.
I believe there's at least two, yes.
So I think that's a key thing. And the reason WiredScore are bringing that in is because if you're going to say that this, serviced office or nice brand new building in London that you're trying to rent out is platinum, you need to say that they've got good resilience from a lease line point of view, but also good resilience from a cellular point of view as well.
Absolutely. And I think we work a lot in the co-working space. When I say we work a lot, we look after networks and companies who rent space out to other businesses. Some of the questions that they come back with aren't just around the IT network, but they're also around the phone network. If you've got a lot of people in the office who are trading and things, it's imperative they've got good connectivity. and they don't always want to be using their work phones,
Yeah.
i.e. the desk phones you're going to pick up. Mobiles are in use all the time.
Yeah.
You've got Teams calling now, which can come through to your apps on your mobile phones.
Yeah.
The other thing we're seeing a lot is apps in the workplace for, I think we touched on it earlier, Mark, around smart parking.
Yeah.
So car parks traditionally haven't got Wi-Fi in them. If you haven't got Wi-Fi in there, how are you connecting into the internet to go onto your app and pay for your parking?
Well, that's the thing, like cars just generally, I mean, I've recently upgraded to an electric car and it is like a mini computer. So you are connected all the time. But if you drive down into a basement car park and you don't have connectivity, especially with a lot of the payment terminals, they're app driven.
Correct.
So if you can't open that app and operate that app in a basement or in a solid concrete car park, you're going to struggle to actually charge your car when you get into car parks, and that market is growing massively, obviously.
And more importantly, I can't annoy my wife and turn the heating down from my phone
Exactly.
if I haven't got connectivity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like your life is smart these days.
It is.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it is. I mean, it's interesting talking about construction. One of the things we were talking about just before we started recording was that we're seeing a trend definitely from a lot of the requests we get. Even now, the majority of the requests we get are for retrofits.
Yep.
So just closed our brand new hospital up, and we've just realised that when we put the final pane of glass in, there's no mobile signal, because, again, Faraday cage, it's the thing that we say the most, and it's the reason that signal can't penetrate. So a lot of our requests are retrofit. We are starting to see, I wouldn't say the trend reverse, I wish it would reverse a bit quicker, but we are starting to see people now at planning phase saying, right, we're probably going to need DAS in here, or mobile signal, or we're going to need, fit for it. Are you seeing that shift a little bit more as well, do you think?
We are. I think you've obviously got the PSTN turn off with BT happening. So you've got things like lifts now that have got 4 5G signal cards in them.
Yeah.
Where are they getting that signal from?
Yeah, especially in a lift shaft.
Yeah. We're seeing a big uptick in lift inquiries.
We've seen that because they've actually confirmed now. I think it's going to be January 2027.
Correct.
Because it was delayed by COVID, I imagine.
Yeah.
But it is now definitely happening.
It is, and it's a serious point. People have got to get their lifts in order. There's so much OT around in the networks now where people want to connect in with air quality sensors that might have SIM cards in.
Yeah, the IoT world is massive as well.
It's huge.
It is.
And all of that relies on mobile signal in your building.
Yeah. Especially because people don't want to be always installing cables for a new device.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or connecting to the Wi-Fi. And
I mean, we do it with most of our installs. Is we instead of relying on our customer to give us internet connection, we'll put as our monitoring device, we'll put a little 4G router on the connection on the hardware, because we then don't have to rely on the customer's network. We don't have to worry about them kicking us off their network because they see a device that they're not sure what it is, all that sort of thing. And it means we're fully in control of our equipment. And that's the same in smart buildings, that you might have the vending machine manufacturer, they want to be able to connect to their vending machine all the time, so they'll put their own SIM card in it rather than relying on Wi-Fi. Or
a lot of these things don't need to sit on a traditional IT network.
No, exactly. So why?
Personally, I don't want a lot of these things on an IT network.
I was just going to say,
from a security point of view, I'd rather some of these things do sit
independently.
Even devices, even just people walking around in that building. You don't, if they've got good 4G or 5G, why do they need to be on the Wi-Fi network?
Correct.
The more people you keep off it, you're keeping that network free for what it's there for actual work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from a building perspective, I can see the growth is really sort of going out there at the moment from the smart building technologies that are being put in, the PSTN turn off, and the users.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes. Yeah. No. Definitely. I think the analogy that I've made a few times, and it's a bit of a silly one, but you don't close up a new building or plan a new building without planning for mains water.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I know it's a silly one because, of course, it's a very obvious one for lots of different reasons. But, people wouldn't plan a new building without thinking about Wi-Fi.
No.
Of course, because the internet, But I think this, mobile signal, it definitely is a growing issue, because you need to have that fallback, that fail-safe. But more than that, for customer experience, for whether it's colleague experience, customer experience. And what we are seeing actually is, and we're working hard on a bit of product development ourselves, sort of like Amplifi-Qx, which is our product line, which relies on a certain manufacturer. But what we are seeing is some product development. So, more and more now, and we're working towards it, not just public cellular, but actually private cellular can plug into it. So we can, and we're close to being able to launch private cellular within our Quattro system. Quattro is a CEL-FI Nextivity product. It's part of the Amplifi-Qx product set. And so we can now put together public and private cellular. Private cellular offers lots of benefits for especially, factories or warehouses that have got Internet of Things. The latency on Wi-Fi would be such that, and being less reliable, if your robots go down, in a big warehouse, a minute's worth of disruption could be tens of £1,000s worth of implication. Whereas the private network means that you don't need to suffer that, or you've got immediate handover between the two and the fail-safe with it.
Absolutely. I think if you look at something like a warehouse, where you've got people often working on radios as well around there, or scanners.
Yeah.
A lot of this uses like SIM cards.
Yes.
If it's not using a SIM card, it's using wireless. If you try to put wireless into a warehouse where you've got different stock levels going up and down all the time, potentially liquids, things like this, the signal can really vary. We've seen it before. So having another sort of technology in there to give connectivity onto these devices is imperative for me. No, definitely. And are you doing quite a bit with data centers and that kind of new build project, or active consultancy within those? Yeah, OryxAlign are actively working in the data center market. We've got quite a few data center builds going on at this moment in time, not just in the UK, but Europe as well, potentially in the Middle East to come. But yeah, we're doing a lot in the data center market. The construction market is just growing in the UK. There's so many buildings going up. I think in London, the square mile, in the last 10 years, they approved 600 buildings.
Right.
In the next 10 years, there's already 1,000 that are going to go up. It's crazy. It's huge out there. So OryxAlign, working in the data center market, and it's busy. We get involved from the consultancy side from the very beginning, right through to the deployment, and then the support of the building thereafter.
Yes.
So for me to support a building, someone says, what does a good building look like?
Yeah.
A client that's happy with the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I don't want someone coming to me to moan. I'd rather look after a building with, 100 users in it and all the technology than a company with 2,000 users. Users will moan. Technology doesn't moan if it's right.
Yeah, of course.
Setting it up is great.
Yeah.
When I say moan, I don't mean moan. They will have issues.
Which tends to translate as moaning.
Customers don't.
But I get that, and I think your ultimate smart building is, as it says on the tin, isn't it? It's smart, which basically means you don't see any issues because everything's been thought through in advance, so it runs friction free. You don't go, oh, my phone's not working on this network, because it's been thought through in advance.
I do agree with that. And if you look at some of the older buildings out there, you might have multiple networks in them, where they'll have a security network, a BMS network, and then a landlord network.
Yeah.
Today, you'll get many more buildings with converged networks, which is great. But do you need this?
Yeah.
In terms of, if you've got a BMS network and your device needs to call out, well, maybe it can use cellular. You might not need to change to a converged network. It was there for a reason.
Yeah.
And it has good security purposes as well.
Yes.
So having the options, and this is what I like to be able to do, is give people options.
Yes.
Which way do you want to do it? Everything has pros and cons. It's up to them.
Exactly. And I think, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, a question for you from selfishly from Signal Solutions' point of view. How do you think we can get the message across to building owners or landlords that cellular or mobile signal enhancement is key to a good building. I mean, I think like you say, things like wide score are helping. But
Yeah.
is there anything else that we could be doing to give people
I think
that message?
wide score is great, as we've mentioned already. But when I work with a building, I always try to look at where they want to be in 3 to 5 years' time.
Yeah.
And we look at the life cycle of the products within the building, and we look at the cost to replace those going forward. Many people think, right, the building's sat there, it's good, you can rent it out. You have to keep up with the technology trends, you have to keep up with security. How do we say we fit you into that? I suppose it's really about what are they going to be connecting to the networks in the future?
Yeah.
How are they seeing the building working? You know, you've even got things like smart bins out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
a bin will tell you when it's full and it will send a cleaner down.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Do we really want that connected to the IT network?
Mm.
Potentially, potentially not. It
But
depends on the customer.
You're going to end up with thousands and thousands of devices connecting to
Correct.
one network rather
Yeah.
than SIM cards in devices that.
And I've seen another one, a good product out there called Oscar. It's a bin, and it'll look at what you're putting into it and tell you whether you should be putting that into the recycling bin or you should be putting it into the waste bin.
Mm.
Generally, people just put everything into the waste bin.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
You know, that
It's hard.
transmits via SIM cards. So
Right.
hard
Yeah.
to know what to put in the right bin sometimes. Isn't it?
Correct.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will usually have to ask for advice. It would be great if the bin could just tell me.
Yeah.
Which one it should go
Have
in.
a happier wife then. wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And I think for the benefit of any potential partners watching this, the nature of our relationship is such that we work in partnership. I know that we said that at the beginning, but you've got your client base. You do what you do, and you do it very, very well, of course, on your consultancy and your expertise level. And then, with ourselves, we're a partner. So if the client needs mobile signal into their building where they don't currently have it, you would potentially come to us, or you'd source the right recommended partner, and then we can deliver that into your client. And for anyone else that's got a similar business that wants to potentially partner with us, of course, then they can contact us. All the contact details will be on this video, or we'll announce at the end. But in terms of the solutions available for mobile signal, you mentioned small cell before.
Yep.
In terms of the other options, there really are, as far as I know, only a couple. So one might be a leased line, which goes off to a data center and is drawing that mobile signal in, effectively like a small cell in and of itself,
Yep.
just fed from a different port, really. A small cell being a physical small antenna, usually put up via the network, so individual networks at a time. What we do, of course, is a bit different from that. We take I'm preaching to the converted here, Peter, but for the benefit of our viewer, really, what we do is slightly different. We put a donor antenna externally, which taps into the macro network, which the network operators have invested billions of pounds into. We capture that signal, bring it into the building. So, what do you think, or what is the feedback you've seen, or your commentary on which of those options might be better suited to a particular client?
Absolutely. I suppose it is going to depend on the client at the end of the day. We like to stay in our lane. So this is why we come to you guys.
Yeah.
We're technology experts. We're not mobile experts. That's why we use you. And anyone listening to this, these are the good guys to use.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. The differences in the technologies that you just mentioned, I suppose, again, it comes back to resilience in my mind. Okay, if you're tapping in to another feed from a data center, that's coming down the internet.
Yeah.
What happens if the internet line goes down?
Of course.
You're out of signal. The way you guys do it gives you another option. It gives you the resiliency in a building, which is good.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of things there. So one is I think this important part about the macro network have invested billions legitimately. It wouldn't take a genius to figure that out, and the internet will give you that answer if you go looking for it. So what we're doing is, with our manufacturer partners, with our partners, for the client, tapping into what's the infrastructure that's been made, the investment that's been made, bringing what is already available outside into your building.
Absolutely.
And that's quite straightforward. The big benefit, as I see it, now, of course, I'm biased, but I'm coming at it from the perspective of common sense, I hope. The big benefit is that doesn't always cost as much as people might think it would.
I think it doesn't cost as much, but then there's another social element here, the ESG.
Yeah.
You're not remanufacturing something.
No, you're not burning energy on another data center. We love data centers, of course, but you're not burning the energy on another data center to power it. It's already being powered. And of course, it fits in very neatly to the research I've done ahead of this and the conversations we've had before. You're operating as a B Corp yourselves.
Indeed, yeah. B Corp's something very big for OryxAlign.
Yeah.
We invested a lot of time and man hours into it. It's something we passionately believe in.
Yeah.
We do recommend most companies go to B Corp. We're seeing a lot more of a need for that sort of focus within businesses at the moment. I'm currently looking at a building in London. They want to know the carbon footprint of the building before it's even built.
Right.
We have people who specialise in our business in ESG and everything like that, and it's so important. It's something we passionately believe in.
Yeah.
We work a lot on ecology within the business, and if someone does well and they're recognised by their peers, we'll plant a tree for them.
Oh,
Great.
wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
If a customer comes to our service desk and says, "Well done, you've got a gold star," we plant a tree.
Yeah.
Are these all in the office?
No, they're all over
An
the
office
world.
full of trees.
We've got a forest somewhere.
That is amazing.
But it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
And I think where that sort of leads back to is, with your solution, you're using stuff that's already out there.
It's already out there. It's just being
Someone's
captured.
already invested in it.
Captured. The technology, again, I know I'm preaching to those that already understand, but for the benefit, it captures, it brings it in, the clever hardware processes it to arguably improve it, not just repeat it. That's key, really. We are genuinely boosting that using the Nextivity IntelliBoost chipset, and then redistributing it around the building. So the great thing about environmental sustainability and the initiatives mean that buildings these days, modern buildings, of course, built using the highest quality, highest efficiency materials, they kind of present their own problem in that they're so efficient, they don't let heat escape or cool escape, but at the same time, they don't let mobile signal penetrate.
Absolutely.
So it's sort of, if you were building a rickety old building with holes in the walls and everything, the mobile signal might have a chance of getting in.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can't anymore because planning would never let you, and it's not the right thing to do anyway. So it is a very straightforward, retrospectively fitted or fitted within planning solution around a problem. And I can only see that problem continuing to amplify.
I think it will amplify, especially as space becomes more of a premium.
Yeah.
So the more buildings you've got up, the more people you've got going into them.
Yeah.
The more steel there is, the more glass there is.
Yeah.
People are going to need to have signal
Yes.
all over the place.
There's another environmental thing, a little bit of geekiness to mention, that when you haven't got signal on your mobile phone, it drains the battery a lot quicker because it's constantly trying to find a good signal.
And ping out.
Right.
So if you've got an office full of people with no mobile signal or very poor mobile signal, all their phones are going to drain quicker, which means they're going to be plugging them in to charge them. And it sounds like a small thing, but if you've got a building with 500 people in it and they're all having to charge their phone twice a day instead of once a day, where are they charging their phone the second time? At their desk.
It
in
all
the
adds
office.
up.
That power that they're pumping into their phone is costing the world, basically, in terms of and that the boosters that we actually install, the technology that we install is very low power in terms of the drain on the grid. So keeping your phone in signal does actually save energy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, there we go. More environmental ESG. Am I right? Is that the right phrasing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Environmental sustainability and governance.
I don't know what the G
Yeah.
is actually.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we'll call it that.
anyone
Let's
watching
go
that
green.
knows.
I'm going green. I'm guessing
I,
green.
I think it's governance.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
We'll
yeah,
go with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Anyone that wants to challenge us on that, it could be a Amplifi-Qx water bottle winging their way to
Maybe
you. If you
put a comment in the
put a comment in, exactly, yeah, with the right information. We'll see if we can get some goodies from Peter as well to add to that.
He might plant you a tree.
Yes.
I'll plant you a tree.
Yes, yeah. So something else I read, and it actually had your name on the bottom of it on the website. So you might be starting to come out in a cold sweat now. No, a blog really, I think, talking a bit about AI and maybe particularly in relation to sustainability and the like. So where is maybe moving slightly off track from just talking about mobile signal?
Yep.
But what's the impact of AI on what you're doing and in relation to those things?
Yeah, I mean, depends where we're going with AI. If you're looking at a data center and the AI that you're sort of utilizing now day to day, it uses a lot more processing power. The more processing power you're using, the more heat it's creating at the back end in the data center. So you've got to look at cooling and things like that and the power consumption. AI is great though. It's fantastic. It really helps people on a day-to-day basis. Where does it go in a building? It's going to be really interesting. I mean, in a building, you'll be able to do facial recognition for access control, potentially, depending on laws and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it then goes down into the heating and the cooling of the building, which also then goes back to your ESG. You know, if you've not got someone in a room, why are you heating that room? Why is the light on? So AI is automatically getting fed into things like CCTV cameras now, into different sensors. So it can say, right, well, 15 people walked into that room, 15 people have walked out, turn the lights off, turn the heating off. It'll understand that people are coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning, so we turn the heating on just before and things like that. As AI advances, as buildings advance, there's so many possibilities. Yes, there may be a lot of need for compute now and power consumption, etc. But there is benefits coming out the back of it, which are good for the users and good for the buildings. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, so staying ahead of it, really, understanding the uses for it. And
I think there's a misconception in lots of ways, and there's probably some very valid arguments that AI uses a lot of resource and data and power, essentially. But obviously, if it's put to the right uses, it should be able to save energy and save resources.
Saves energy, saves time. We're all time poor in our lives at the moment. I don't want us to be searching for things for 10, 15 minutes when the answer's right there and it's correct and you know it's gone through its triage, so to speak. So AI can be great. It's really advantageous. I don't use it enough, by the way.
No, we use it, and you know, John, who doesn't come on screen very often, is he's our guru, isn't he?
He's the
you know, he's so light years ahead of us, and probably very far ahead of most of the general population. John is super switched on. He's created lots of little AI agents within our CRM that do some really important jobs for us and make us a lot more efficient. And that's great, actually, because it moves through to our project management team so that lots of things are sort of pre-organised, pre-scheduled. We're lighter touch, but we're still very, very fastidious with our human touch. So we make sure we, you know, leave the building. You know, AI hasn't yet been able to create a robot that can install a signal boosting system.
We're working on it.
So I do see lots of extra uses for it, and it'd be interesting to see where it goes. What it did make me think of when you were talking about that, actually, I was talking about private networks being able to be incorporated into our hardware now. Actually tagging onto that, there are, you know, the distribution antennas that you would see in a ceiling. We haven't got any in here, actually, but you'd see them in the ceiling. That's what's producing the signal, bringing it in from outside through the processing box and then out through the distribution antenna. You can actually now get smart antennas. You know, the Nextivity are making smart antennas that can do lots of different things, and actually the case usages for them we haven't fully discovered yet, because there's so much more that you can do with it. The two obvious ones that we've come up with are, heat detection, leak detection.
Yep.
And that can all be run straight through that DAS system.
Yep.
So that you can, and you can build out some software that will support it. You could do traffic flow, footfall flow through a retail outlet or a hotel unit, for very much the things that you're talking about within smart buildings. So, all part of the conversation that we need to keep pushing to our partners, to our end users, to say, right, the phrase at the moment is do more with DAS, and there is so much more to it than just so you can make a phone call. Great that you can make a phone call. Actually, I use my mobile handset
for a lot more.
So much more for everything else than just phone calls.
One of the key points we touched on earlier, and this is really key from an IT point of view, is the two-factor authentication, because you mentioned it earlier.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of companies now are moving away from authenticator apps and moving to SMS only.
Yeah.
And SMS does not work over Wi-Fi. So a lot of people say to us, we're going to use Wi-Fi calling instead of enhancing signal in a building. But that works okay, but Wi-Fi is not made for cellular. So it doesn't work with SMS. You cannot get an SMS through on a Wi-Fi network. And quite often you'll get, if you're just on Wi-Fi calling, you'll get drop calls, missed calls, voicemails not coming through.
I see it a lot, and I see a huge sort of user case there. Take a BMS engineer that's got to go into a plant room, all the pipes and loads of metal around there, and there's often no mobile signal in those areas.
Yeah.
They've got to take their laptop in.
Yeah. If they need to log on.
And they can't get the 2FA done.
Yeah.
So they go out to another room, go back, again, wasted time.
We get people say this to us, that even in like a 10-story building, they've got people that have had to, from their desk, walk downstairs with their mobile, go out the front door of the building, get the SMS, but then they've only got a few minutes to get back to their desk to put the code in.
Yeah.
So, if you've got people doing that, what's the efficiency in that? You've got the actual energy that they're using going up and down, but they're using the lift for no reason.
Correct.
It's a pain in the backside having to do that.
At the end of the day, two-form factor authentication is so key, because we all know that you can have all the IT security products in the world, but the number one problem is the user.
Yeah.
So having something like 2FA to a business,
it's key.
It's key.
Yeah,
it really is. So yeah, I totally see that as a user
And I
case.
think a few years ago, people probably saw it as a bit of a pain having to do that sort of thing. But I think now, when you see all these security breaches and big companies like M&S having security breaches, it's becoming so key for people to have really tight security. You guys know that more than
Absolutely.
anyone.
Everyone's resistant to change.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, now I think people are used to 2FA, used to being able to do stuff. Your banks do it now. It's important. So
I think some countries now are bringing it in for payments as well. So if you're using where chip and pin works really well, or contactless, if it's over a certain amount, in some countries they're bringing in two-factor authentication, so you'll get an SMS to your mobile. Now, I think it might be over like £500, but there are quite a lot of retail stores where the average order would be over £500.
Especially in London.
Exactly, yeah. There's some very nice streets with some shops. I was at one this morning that I'm sure their average order value is well over £500.
Yeah.
So I think moving into the future, mobile signal and two-factor authentication is going to become even more key.
I think you're right, and it's something to really watch. I even get text messages from my kids' school. And it's important.
Yeah.
That could be your son or daughter's fallen over at school. Can you come and get them?
Yeah.
If I can't get that because I'm on site somewhere with poor signal,
Exactly.
that can be a big problem.
And you touched on two things there that I think are more from a health point of view. You mentioned the guy who's gone into a plant room and has got to get his laptop out.
Yep.
He's also operating in a plant room on his
Lone
own.
working.
And you've got the mental health side of things. People working in a building, they've got their kids at school. If they can't get a phone call or a text message,
Absolutely.
there's a constant worry there. So they're little things, but they're all
They all add
reliant on good connectivity,
Yep.
both Wi-Fi and cellular.
Yeah, connectivity is key. Whether it's
Yeah.
a smart building, whether it's a standard building, it's key
Yeah.
for day-to-day use and users' happiness.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And what do you think coming towards probably coming towards the end of our time together now, although we're not under any particular time constraints, but what do you think from your perspective, again, mobile signal connectivity aside, although it could be either of those things, what's the next big thing? What's coming round the corner? Construction, IT, comms,
the killer
where
question.
where do you see us in 5 or 10 years' time?
It's a very, very good question. I'm still trying to catch up with the last 5 years and everything that people need.
Yeah.
It's the world's changing.
Yeah,
I think we've touched on it. Everything's being connected to the internet
yeah,
these days. You probably got. I think my oven's even a smart oven.
Yeah.
I can turn it on from my
Yeah.
phone
Yeah.
via an app and things like
I've
this.
got a smart washing machine. It's mental.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just the world is changing. People are expecting more. And it's where do we see ourselves in 5 years? It's where that expectation takes us of
Yeah.
what people want, of
Yeah.
what people want to put in a building, of what people expect. Standards have gone up,
yeah,
and if you don't have that, and someone else will for a building, it's like, well, this building
Yeah.
has X, Y, and Z. You don't have that. I'm looking to rent an office. We'll go to that building.
Yeah.
So you have to differentiate yourselves. And it's
I
the
think-
differentiators that make the difference.
I think that's a really key point, and it's just a very well-deserved bit of promotion for OryxAlign as well. You guys are the perfect provider to provide all of that, the smart building technology
Yeah.
as a whole. I think you guys are one of the leaders in the world.
Yeah, I mean, what we do is we listen to our customers. We look at what they're trying to do within a building, and we understand what they want to do. We've implemented many a different network for different reasons. We have a few core things that we always look at, such as security, usability, but it's always what the customer wants. And we try to listen to them, and we design around that. And we're not just going to take a design from someone and say, this is what you should put into a building. We will question it.
Yeah.
How do you want this to work? Why do you want it to work that
and
way?
challenge.
Challenge.
Yeah,
If we don't,
challenging. It's the classic. One of the classic of many Henry Ford quotes was, "If I'd listened to my customers, I'd have given them a faster horse."
correct.
It's
Yeah.
like rather than inventing the motor car. So challenge is important, obviously, and I totally agree. Listening to your customer and giving them what they want is key. You don't get very far in a value add business without doing that. But that challenge is so important. I was thinking about what you're saying about your smart oven and your smart washing machine. I think virtual reality, augmented reality, hyper-connectedness. I know that very neatly brings it back to connectivity, but more by accident than otherwise. We are now seeing, aren't we? Who's to say that these glasses aren't recording everything? They're not actually, but you get my point. I know a few of my friends and family that have had the smart glasses for Christmas.
Yeah.
Other than the little dot on the corner there, you wouldn't know.
No.
And just to tell you that you're recording now. Wearable tech is just going to keep going, isn't it? Most people have got a smartwatch. I've got a smartwatch on now. It's not a very advanced one, but I'm sure you have. I know you have, yeah. So there's smartwatches, smart wearables, remote working, hybrid working. Classically when we do a Teams call, because I work remotely, I work up in the north, Mark's based down in the south. We speak to each other for a good couple of hours every day on Teams. But I can be in the house on my phone on Teams, go into my office, which is attached to the house, transfer seamlessly via the
device.
tech.
Yep.
It doesn't even cut out. Pre-COVID, no one would have used that functionality because everyone would have been in the same workspace. But the world's moved and changed.
Absolutely. And COVID's 5 years away?
Yeah.
People are building buildings now, designs 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Expectations are different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
yeah, you've got to look at technology
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ahead.
Exactly,
think
and
what
build
people
with that in mind, which is why I'm often saying now to people when we give them a system recommendation, and as you all know, we do a solution design and indicative quote free of charge from floor plans alone. We
Yeah.
do need to go out and survey it before we can give a final price, but we do a lot of that. When I am presenting that, of course, we can't convert every inquiry. My life would be a lot simpler if we could. But when the inquiry is turned down because either they haven't seen the value or I haven't presented it well enough, or because the cost is a bit more than they thought it might be, I'm recommending now, look, pre-install the cabling.
Yeah.
Yeah, put the Cat6s into where they need to go for the coverage units. Put the coaxes into the risers where they'll need to go. Because when you do need it, that installation cost, you're doing it at the construction phase, so you can absorb that cost easily. And the installation of that retrospectively is such a big percentage of what the whole thing costs.
It
Put
costs
the backbone in.
Yeah, it costs very little to run 3 cables
Yeah.
instead of 1 cable.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You know,
If you're
you've
running-
still got the same manpower doing it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. I do see a lot of buildings doing this as well.
Yeah.
Getting ready for it for the future,
Yeah.
even if they're not installing it now. You mentioned cost. Sometimes it does come down to cost. Everyone's always pinched against costs at the end of the day, especially on a construction build. Costs can spiral. You have to bring it back somewhere, and sometimes certain things have to sort of fall by the wayside. But putting that in and making sure that you're there for the future, it's ideal. A good thing with you guys on costs, I know you don't have to pay for it all up front. You can do it over a certain period as well.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the way things are moving now as well. Is gone are the days when everything was just purchased outright. People are used to paying on a
Yeah.
monthly basis.
Yeah.
They'll put it onto the service charge.
Yeah.
And when you're working in construction and working in buildings, you've got a day one cost of the construction.
Yes.
Your day two cost is a service charge and
Yeah.
what's charged onto the tenants.
Yeah.
Of course.
And you've got to keep that as low as possible, because
Yeah.
otherwise, if you've got high service charges, you're not appealing to the customer base that's
Yeah.
coming in.
Yes.
So
You've got
it's
to
all
keep it
about working.
competitive. It's a
Yeah.
competitive market in the, especially like the co-working spaces and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
And there'll be plenty of buildings out there that have got old tech in, which are not cyber compliant because they haven't invested.
yeah.
And, you know, what you're doing here is you're giving people another opportunity to connect into a network and giving that ability to have different ways of working, having that resiliency. And I think it's key going forward that, you know, if people aren't looking at solutions such as yours, then they're not doing best by their business, because
No.
you've got to look at that resiliency. You've got to look at what happens if the internet does go down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What are they doing for disaster recovery?
Yeah. And actually, with a, you know, a UPS attached to the system, there's no reason why, you know, in any situation, the mobile signal can be continually provided into the building, regardless of what's going on
Correct.
elsewhere. You know, so you know, we're very, you know, of course we're very bought into it. It's our business, it's what we do, but with great reason. And we've got lots of good case studies. We're working on lots of interesting projects with yourselves, and you know, there's lots of conversations going on with you and your teams, and we're very, very grateful for it.
Yeah, I'd just like to say it is a pleasure working with you and the team, and
No,
you know, it's a great partnership.
I
that
think
we've
it's
built.
a symbiotic relationship, really, because, you know, like I say, we're not experts in this field. You guys are. I'd rather we didn't reinvent the wheel. We work with experts.
Yes.
And you guys are them. So no, thank you.
Yeah, good. So coming towards the end now, you know, wrapping up. It's been really good having your wisdom on the sofa today, Peter.
Thank you for having me.
for coming
Yeah,
across
it's been
town.
fascinating to hear it from your side. You know, we speak a lot.
Yeah.
You know, quite often it's fast conversations because we're trying to get quotes out for you or work on things. So actually to sit down and have a conversation like this is really interesting.
Connectivity is interesting. My wife says it's boring, but it is interesting. And, you know,
You're talking to the right audience
Yeah.
today. So
at the end of the day, connected people are happy.
yeah.
Not always happy. Depends what they're looking at and why they're connected and things like that. But they're not frustrated. When you can't connect, it's the frustration that comes in, and that is key. That's one of the things I need to sort within any business, is making sure people have what they want and when they want it.
Yes.
And then they're happy.
Yeah, exactly. So if anyone listening, watching, has stumbled across this, or they're a subscriber of ours and they wanted to get in touch with yourselves to find out a bit more about how you might be able to support them, what's the best way to contact you, Peter?
Absolutely. Go through to the website, OryxAlign.com, and all our contact details are on there. We've got some great case studies as well, like yourselves, around what we do in the construction and data center and the property market space, as well as other things. So, yeah, feel free to have a look on the website and contact us. We're here to help. Always like a chat.
Perfect.
We'll put a link in all the socials and everything as well. So, it's been great talking to you today.
No, thank you very much
for taking the time to come and be on our show.
Yeah,
that's
perfect.
Brilliant.
Okay, so in wrapping up, I'll close out.
Are you closing?
Yeah, I'll close out. You started us, didn't you? Exactly. So, thanks again, Peter. Really enjoyable chat. We'll be back very soon with more episodes of Signal Solutions TV. See you soon.